Hello and hey, welcome back to my channel. This is a very quick message from future A, but I somehow turned the music way too high on this, so I am literally like a muffle in the background. Just a warning, have fun, bye-bye. Hello and welcome back. We're still playing Cinderella Phenomenon, and I think this is episode 10. My memory is like a goldfish, and we're just gonna jump right on in. It is the day of the ball, and I'm waiting for Emerlane to finish her last dance rehearsal. The lesson was over an hour ago, but Emerlane remains here to continue practicing the steps. Meanwhile, I'm preoccupied with the thoughts of Rod's curse. And not Rod, just his curse. That's how it goes. I cannot believe that Rod traded his voice for a title. So the reason the king was able to find Ophelia was because of Rod. It is a little difficult to wrap my head around the implications, but one thing bothers me. Rod told me why he has the curse, but he gave no explanation as to how to break it. How did it go in the original fairy tale? Emerlane finishes up the last steps of her routine before walking over to me. I hand her the glass of water I was holding for her. Thank you, Gaia! Emerlane must notice my curiosity because she stops to look at me quizzically. Is something the matter? I read a little bit of that fairy tale, but never finished it. Can you tell me the whole story of the Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid? Emerlane takes a seat along the stairs bordering the throne room and gestures for me to take the one opposite her. Telling a fairy tale is always a good way to wind down. Once upon a time, there was a mermaid that fell in love with a handsome prince. One day, when she swam to the surface of the ocean to find him, she saw that the prince was celebrating his birthday on the grandest ship in the kingdom. But the Little Mermaid was captivated by the human party and stayed to watch. Then suddenly, a violent storm hit, and the prince was thrown from the ship into the ocean. The Little Mermaid saved the prince and took him safely to shore, but she could not stay long. She eventually had to return to the ocean and leave him on land. This is similar to Bjorka's rescue. The Little Mermaid was so in love with the prince that she went to see a witch who offered to trade her a potion that would turn her mermaid's tail into legs. They struck a deal. The mermaid would sacrifice her beautiful voice for legs so that she could live with the prince on land. So, in Rod's case, he traded away his voice to become a prince. However, the sea witch gave the Little Mermaid a warning and said that if she wasn't able to make the prince fall in love with her, there would be consequences. Consequences? Yes. Namely, if the prince fell in love and married someone else, the mermaid's heart would break and she would dissolve into sea foam. No more Rod. I hated that sentence. I cannot help but recoil. My expression must betray my horror because Emerlane quickly shakes her head. There's no need to be worried. Rod said that his curse is different from the fairy tale. And you believe him? Emerlane shrugs helplessly as she puts down her now empty glass of water. The fairy tale curse always twists the original fairy tale, right? Besides, it's not as if Rod traded his voice for legs, and I've never heard of a cursed person that dies because they cannot break their curse. It may be true, but Emerlane does not know what Rod traded for his voice. She doesn't know what he traded his voice for. She does not know that he did it to become a prince for Viorka. Rod is already hiding things from her. Is it possible that Rod will die the day Viorka marries Desmond? Oh no! Later that day, I find Rod in the dining hall. He appears to be inspecting the seating arrangements for the night's banquet. He glances up briefly to look at me before returning his attention to the placards with the guests' names on them. What is it? I've been looking for you all morning. I'm distracted from what I'm about to say when I notice Rod switching the position of two placards. I frown as I watch the name on one of them. He's moving Viorka's place at the table. He's trying to make sure she sits as far away from him as possible. Surely you have better things to do than staying here. What happens if you cannot break your curse? Rod's movements stutter before he shakes his head sharply. That is something you do not need to know. Plead with him. He wouldn't expect it. Something aches deep in my chest at Rod's coldness. Please. Rod startles so strongly that he almost drops the placard he's holding. Please tell me. We've been partners for months now. But I've barely... Yes, I know that it's an unusual partnership and that most of our helping each other has been subtle, but I'm only one good deed away from breaking my curse, while you seem to be no closer to breaking your curse than when we started. I will do whatever I can to help you with your curse, Rod. So please, let me help you. Silence falls. Moments later, Rod sighs and looks away from me. Some unspeakably sad emotion shines through his eyes. Even if I wanted your help, Gaia, there's nothing you could do. Dread settles in the pit of my stomach at Rod's words. Could I be right? Will Rod actually die if he does not manage to break his curse? Emmeline told me the story of the Little Mermaid. She said that the mermaid dies if the prince marries someone else. Rod, if Viorca marries Desmond, will you... My voice trails off when I hear the sound of the door behind us. Is it Ophelia or the king? Rod rushes forward and grabs me before I can glance back at the door. Ow! I become aware of a weight holding me down to the floor. The impact of the ground against my head blurs my vision, making it impossible for me to see what is happening at first. Am I underneath the dining table? I struggle to try and sit up, but the weight pushing down on me again, forcing me to be still. Quiet. Rod, why did he push me underneath the table? I'm about to ask him aloud when the sound of footsteps silences me. I cannot help but remember what Sir Mithros was saying about rumors. If Rod and I were seen alone together by the servants, the rumors will no doubt get worse. But why is Rod doing this? I stay quiet as the people that enter the dining hall begin to talk.
How strange for this place to be empty at this time of day.
There's a pause, and then another voice speaks up.
You better have good news for me, Mithros!
Oopsies, this is... Gotcha. You better have good news for me, Mithros. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros? Rod's hand tightens on my shoulders. Everything is as you requested, Sir Alcaster. There should be no issues. There better not be. You've disappointed me before, Mithros. I would be careful not to try my patience again. Yes, Sir Alcaster. Sir Mithros sounds oddly subservient. But why? The two of them are both ranked equally, and neither of them should have to answer to anyone other than the king. Unless Sir Alcaster truly is the witch and is forcing Sir Mithros to obey him with a spell. Wait a minute after I leave. We should not be seen together. I do not hear Sir Mithros respond, but I can hear Sir Alcaster leaving the room. Sir Mithros sighs out, but is otherwise silent when he leaves the room after a few moments. I exhale fully as the door finally closes behind Sir Mithros. This is bad. I was so engrossed in Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros' conversation that I only just now realized that Rod is hovering over me. Give me the... Okay, yep. Hi, Rod. Hi, Sippy. Hi, Sippy. Okay, are you alright? Are you hurt? You look a little... Rod suddenly pauses as he notices our positions. He stares at me for a few moments, eyes wide. He scrambles out from underneath the dining table, and by the time I do the same, he's standing far away from me, his gaze fixed on the wall. He's bright red. It would be funny if it weren't sure I was the same color. Rod clears his throat. It seems that Sir Alcaster really is the witch, if he has the ability to make Sir Mithros obey him. Lady Parfait should be told immediately. Rod turns on his heel to leave the dining room. Rod, wait. What? This is urgent, Princess. I can't just... When Viorca marries Desmond, will you die? Rod pauses for a moment, but I can tell from his pained expression that he will not speak.
You're running out of time, Rod.
My eyes flit between Sebby and Rod. What does that mean? Nothing. He turns away from me once again and starts walking away. Rod, oh my god, I'm gonna smack you! Oh! Rod. There must be something in my voice that makes Rod stop, because he turns to look at me. Please stop running away from this. What would knowing the answer achieve, Gaia? Though Rod's words are harsh, his tone is soft. There is nothing anyone could do. Leave it alone, Gaia. It's for the best. I cannot help but get mad at Rod's dismissive tone. I move toward him, frowning. How can you say something like that? You are not the only person that will be affected if you keep refusing to do anything to break your curse. Can you imagine what your death would do to your sister, to your mother? Losing you would destroy them. Rod's face is suddenly inches away from mine. He places his hands to the wall behind me, caging me in. Oh, madame. Thank you, sir. His face is flushed with anger, but the look in his eyes is tormented. My family has been dealing with the consequences of my actions for the majority of my life. Don't think that I don't know what effect my curse has on the people closest to me. Besides, I don't want to involve you with this too. His voice is a whisper, but I can still hear his words. Rod pushes away from me and stalks off as I stare after him. He says that, but then he still does nothing to try and break his curse. I don't understand him at all. What is stopping him? Rod is absent from the palace for the rest of the day and returns only once the sun is set to prepare for the ball. I've not been able to talk to him since, but I assume that he has been to the Marchand to tell Delora and Parfait about our suspicions of Sir Alcaster being a witch. I hope they come up with an effective plan for dealing with him. The palace is not safe so long as he's here. The ball is just about to start that evening, and I have been asked to make sure none of the guests are lost in wandering the halls. I've been walking around for a while, directing any late guests in the right direction. That should be everyone. But as I turn the corner, I notice two people lingering by a column. Excuse me, the throne room is... I pause when I look more closely at the two men in front of me. I recognize one of them instantly. Hello? Who are you? You're the secret mystery man that we never saw before. Neat. Are you Fritz? Are you Fritz and this is just your night vision version, whatever? What is Sir Alcaster doing outside of the throne room? And who's that man he's with? I want to know who you are. I have the memory of a goldfish, so I will not be able to place them together. But he's the little Red Riding Hood for sure. I can guess that. Well, he's the wolf in sheep's clothing. Oh, quiet. I don't know how to do his voice help. Sir Alcaster gestures me toward him, and I approach warily. This is Varg. He's one of the guests for the ball. Varg sweeps aside his cape as he bows, and I curtsy and dip my head to hide my expression. I've not heard of a Varg, and why would he be bowing to a mere maid? Also, why is he wearing such an elaborate costume and a mask and that smarmy little smirk? This is not a masquerade ball! Get out of here with your dramaticisms! If Varg is an acquaintance of Sir Alcaster, there's no telling what or who he truly is. Varg is one of the suitors for Princess Emmeline. Would you please escort him to the throne room? I'll be along shortly. Varg's politeness is even more suspicious. Of course, Sir Alcaster. I meet Varg's gaze briefly and cannot help but frown at the way he's smirking at me. This way. Varg and I make our way toward the throne room. I cannot help but feel wary for the fact that he's following behind me where I cannot see him. If the maids are this lovely, the princess must be truly beautiful. Varg laughs and I grit my teeth at the sound. It was meant as a compliment. There's no need to look at me like that. Varg looks at me curiously. A maid's not allowed to speak in this place? I have nothing to say. Not the most cheerful person on staff, are you? Thankfully, the doors to the throne room appear as soon as we turn a corner, and I do not have to come up with a response to his words. We are here. I gesture toward the throne room and move to leave, but Varg's voice stops me. Hey, you should at the very least, escort me inside and introduce me to the princess, don't you think? Isn't that what a mage should do? Technically, that is the announcer's job. But Varg came so late, he probably already missed the introductions. Hey, I wouldn't want to think badly of any of the servants at the palace. I take a deep breath to calm myself down before turning toward the doors. Follow me. I can tell the moment I step into the room that the official introductions have already passed. Most of the guests have already begun to mingle and scatter across the throne room as the band sets up. No one notices when I walk into the throne room in front of Varg. I do not trust Varg, not if he's associated with Sir Alcaster. I might have time to warn someone about him while he is distracted, but who? I'm gonna warn Rod? But I'm gonna leave her with Emerald. Warn Rod, because he's the one who knows about the situation. My eyes fall on Rod. I notice that he's leaning against one of the walls away from the crowds. I head directly for him, moving quickly so that Varg is not right behind me. Rod! Rod frowns at me as I come to stand in front of him. What? There's a man here called Varg. I think Sir Alcaster brought him. Sir Alcaster? Apparently Varg is one of the suitors for Emmeline's hand. Rod glances past me at Varg, his eyes narrowed. Is that him? Is that Varg? When I turn back and follow his line of sight, I almost gasp in shock. Varg is bent over one of Emmeline's hands, clearly having just pressed a kiss to the back of it. You should have kept him away from Ebb. But... Rod and I are not too far away, so we can hear him clearly, but the throne room is already hushed at the sight of the crown princess being so boldly directly addressed. May I have the first dance, your highness? I feel sick, but cannot bring myself to say anything more as Emerlane puts her hand in Varg's. I accept, Lord Varg. The moment Emerlane makes her way to the center of the dance floor, a man signals to the band and the musicians start playing. This feels wrong. I can only nod as I watch Varg pull Emerlane closer. At first, it is just he and Emerlane dancing, but then other couples gradually trickle in to join them. I don't like this at all. Rod and I watch in silence as the first dance continues on. I know for a fact that Rod must see the dreamy smile on Emerlane's face as certainly as I can. When the music stops, both of us move as one toward Emerlane. Even though the dance is over and Varg has released her, they still stand close together in the center of the room. The silence is interrupted when the double doors open and Sir Alcaster, along with two knights, stalk into the center of the room where Emerlane and Varg stand. Their arrival causes an uneasy stir in the crowds. The king rises from his throne, his eyebrows drawn.
Alistair, is there some kind of disturbance?
Alcaster says nothing as the knights stationed around the room approach Emerlane and Varg and stand around them, encircling them. Emerlane's expression shifts from confusion to fear. The crowd becomes even more anxious.
Alcaster, explain this!
Alcaster briefly glances at him but says nothing. He turns back to his knights and snaps his fingers. The knights pull out their swords and point them at Emerlane. No! Ebb! I reach out to grab Rod's hand before he can make his way toward her. Rod, it's too dangerous. I know, but thoughtless actions have the potential to put Emerlane in even more danger. Rod's only response is to tighten his grip on my hand. I place my other hand over his to reassure him, and slowly but surely his grip begins to loosen. I turn my gaze back to the king.
Alcaster, stop this immediately! What do you think you are doing?
Something I should have done a long time ago. I have been nothing but loyal to this kingdom, and all I have ever wanted was for Angel to thrive. But ever since the Queen died, this kingdom has become weak. It is because you are a weak ruler, Gennaro.
What?
The people were more productive back then, more disciplined during the late Queen's reign. The kingdom has become less productive without fear to drive them. When there is power, there is order.
Power is not something that should be needlessly used to control people. It is used to protect them. You, of all people, should know that.
Sir Alcaster shakes his head.
I, of all people, know that order is what makes a hierarchy strong. I am only doing what is necessary. I'm reorganizing the system.
Hand over the crown, Gennaro.
Sir Alcaster turns his head to Varg, who remains standing beside a scared Emerlane.
You will obey me if you do not want your precious daughter harmed.
Please, leave my daughter out of this. Emerlane stands back, her eyes now brimming with tears.
Varg, seize the princess.
As soon as Sir Alcaster gives the order, Rod immediately lets go of my hand and rushes toward his sister. Rod, no! I quickly follow after him, but Rod suddenly stops in his tracks. I bump abruptly into his back. Rod?
Varg!
Oopsies.
Varg!
Sir Alcaster's booming voice echoes around the room, which has suddenly gone eerily silent. His eyes move to Varg, but he's standing motionless. What is happening? Finally, Varg smirks. He steps to the side, standing in front of Emerlane as if to block her from view. Sir Varg?
You must be delusional, old man. I'm not letting you anywhere near the princess.
The knight's next movements are a blur as they rush at Sir Alcaster. In mere moments, he has been disarmed and pinned to the ground. Several more knights have also appeared from behind to surround Sir Alcaster. A man emerges from in between the circle of knights. He moves to stand beside Varg and Emerlane. Sir Mithros looks at Sir Alcaster disdainfully.
What is the meaning of this, Mithros? We had a deal.
The anger is now palpable in Sir Alcaster's flushed face.
Did we now?
Did we now?
Mithros, explain yourself.
Sir Mithros drops to one knee in front of the king.
Of course, your majesty.
He raises his head slightly to look at the king.
I have known for a long while that the man you see before you is a traitor. I was even aware of his plans, but I could not tell you of them without any evidence. 2 of your knights had tried to inform you of these plans before, but you all looked down on them with disdain. I had to make sure that I did not come unprepared like they did. Jurian and Garland.
What? Both of them knew of Sir Alcaster's plans? Is that the reason why they were dishonorably discharged? For false accusations?
I knew enough of this plan that I could thwart it. This is why I thought the best way to reveal his dastardly ways was to craft a fake alliance with him. Sir Varg and I have been working together to unravel Alcaster's plans, Your Majesty. Varg is an invaluable accomplice.
Wait, so Sir Mithros has been pretending to work with Sir Alcaster this whole time?
And so, we arrive at the events of tonight. I apologize for undertaking this task without seeking your counsel, Your Majesty. But I could think of no better way to end this madness once and for all.
You lying snake.
Sir Mithros stands and turns to Alcaster. He gestures at him dismissively.
Seize him.
The knight's next movements are a blur. The men rush Sir Alcaster all at once. In a mere moment, Sir Alcaster has been disarmed and is now pinned to the ground. Isn't Sir Alcaster a witch? Why is he not using his magic?
Mithros, I am indebted to you for saving us. The kingdom is... I only did what was necessary, Your Majesty.
The king glances at the knights, then at Sir Alcaster, his gaze steely.
Take him away.
Sir Alcaster struggles uselessly against the knights as they drag him away. He's nearly out the door when he starts screaming at the king.
Gennaro, you are a fool. The man is a witch, a snake. You cannot trust him. No, Alcaster, I was wrong to put my trust in you.
Even as Sir Alcaster is pulled from the room, we can hear him babbling in the hallway about a witch. Sir Alcaster never used any magic to escape. Was he truly not a witch?
Are you alright, princess?
I'm pulled from my thoughts when I hear Varg's voice. He's now trying to comfort a shaken Emerlane. My baby! For a few moments, he looks away and his eyes meet mine. He smiles, but it is fleeting, and moments later his attention is back on Emerlane.
I don't trust this. I don't trust you, Mr. Conman. I don't trust it at all. Go away.
The ball comes to an abrupt end after Alcaster's stunt. He's thrown into jail, a jail cell, and promised a trial after a few days' time where he will be tried for treason against the kingdom. I still can't believe Sir Alcaster would do something like that. It's so brazenly, too. I wonder, what happened to Sir Fitzgerald? They say he vanished completely last night. Do you think he was working with his father?
The truth is that I have no idea what to think. I thought that I had everything figured out, but now I become more and more confused by the moment. Fritz was always loyal to a fault, but then Sir Alcaster was the same way with the king. I've not seen or heard of Fritz for weeks. I cannot really say.
Good morning, Princess Emmeline. Whoops. Good morning, Princess Emmeline.
Sir Varg,
I know it's Fritz, guys. I know it's Fritz. Okay, I gave him a voice. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sir Varg! Varg was offered a room at the palace for a few days' visit. He's being treated as Sir Mithros' valued guest. I've heard from the other servants that he is Sir Mithros' relative who lives in the neighboring kingdom.
I hope that you're feeling well now, Princess.
Yes. Thank you for your help last night. Is Emmeline blushing?
I know I won't be here long, but I do hope to get to know you better during the duration of my stay.
I would love that.
Then I am looking forward to spending more time with you.
Oh, I forgot that I am meant to be in my mother's room right now. Gaia, Sir Varg, I'll see you both later. I curtsy as Emmeline walks off, leaving me alone with Varg. I cannot help but feel uneasy in his presence. Something about him puts me on edge. He makes me feel uncomfortable. Excuse me, I have errands to attend to.
Wait. Before you head out, I have something to give you.
Give me. Varg reaches into one of his pockets and withdraws a letter that he holds out to me. A letter! We just got a letter. We just got a letter. What is this about?
Well, I guess you'll have to open it and find out, Princess.
My blood turns to ice in my veins. He knows I'm the princess? That could only mean that he's... I have no idea what you're talking about. Excuse me. I'm about to leave when Varg suddenly grabs my wrist.
Stop manhandling me! The play is just about to start, Princess. You have a responsibility as the main character to perform impeccably until the very end. Otherwise, well...
He grins at me. It is the same wolfish smile that he flashed at me during the ball.
You might miss out on your fairy tale ending.
What? Before I can say anything else, I feel a hand grip my other arm. Someone tugs me back and away from Varg, then comes to stand in front of me.
I wonder who it is. Oh, hey, Rod. Stay away from her.
Rod? Varg looks at Rod, then at me, his smile growing more crooked.
What an interesting turn of events. I wonder how this will end for the both of you.
Oh, what, baby? What's she meowing about?
Tell me, Gaia, what is he to you? He's a friend? Or ... He's a friend, because he probably doesn't believe it. A friend, you say? Is that what he really is?
Yes.
Oh, the disgruntled look on Prince Rod's face says otherwise. I wonder why. If you don't cease talking right this instant, I will have the knights escort you out. Of course! I apologize for my rude behavior, Your Highness.
You seem to know a lot about us. Are you I lower my voice. Are you a witch?
You're asking the wrong person, Princess.
He knows who you really are.
I think you two are worrying too much about me. After all, I'm just a pawn in this game.
Varg dips into an elegant bow and flashes one last smile before walking away.
So many twists and turns, oh my god. Are you alright?
I am. Thank you for helping me.
You know I'd do anything for you.
What?
What?
Rod shakes his head before stepping away. Anything. For me? Rod coughs, pulling me from the thought.
It is possible that he is a witch, or that he's working with other witches, but we have no evidence to prove it. Until we figure out what's going on, you need to be wary of him.
I know. Rod smiles at me gently.
The look makes my heart thud once, painfully, in my chest.
Stop staring at me like that. Oh my god, you're looking at me like a piece of meat. I don't like it.
Ron looks away, his cheeks tinged red. I feel my own cheeks warm at the sight. I wasn't staring at all. Both of you are hopeless. Yes, Sebby, they are. Shut up, Sebby. Rod gives me one last look before finally turning and walking away. I place my hand over my chest where I can still hear my thudding heartbeat. This feeling, if it is what I think it is, then I have no right to feel that way about him. He's my stepbrother. I shake my head to clear the thought, then glance down the letter that Varg just delivered to me. I know, guys. I know. I should have picked better. I just thought that we could bend the familial bond. I'm so sorry that my brain didn't make the connection that the romance visual novel would force me to romance the person I picked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's only one sentence written on it. Come to the throne room alone tonight.
And we'll do it too!
The wedding.
What? Excuse me? That's a little too fast if you ask me.
The throne room is empty when I arrive. I can only hope that this is not some sort of trap. Soon after I enter, the door squeaks open and a familiar face enters the room. Sir Mithros. Sir Mithros walks towards me. When he is close enough, he drops to one knee and bows. I frown as I take a step back from him. My princess, do not be alarmed. I know of your true identity. Sir Mithros flashes me a wide smile that causes a shudder to run down my spine. You know who I am. Then that means that you are... I take another step back as the blood drains from my face. Sir Mithros' smile only widens at my reaction. I'll say it for you, yes. I am a witch. If you are a witch, then Sir Alcaster is a mere human, a fool. And Varg? Nothing but my personal errand boy. The thought suddenly occurs to me. If Sir Alcaster is plotting against the kingdom, then did Sir Mithros also punish Fritz somehow? What about Fritz? Was he part of Sir Alcaster's plans? Ah, the night. To avoid confusing you, let us just say that the situation surrounding him is too complicated to adequately explain. I command you to answer my question, Sir Mithros. Was Fritz a part of this? If it makes you feel any better, he refused to be part of this. He refused? Does that mean he was not a part of the plans? Or just that he was unwillingly forced to participate in them? I'm certain that Sir Alcaster would not be happy that his own son has disobeyed him. He either forced him to help or assigned him outside of the palace. But if Fritz knew of Sir Alcaster's plans, why did he not warn anyone about them? Was he working with Sir Mithros as well? More questions swirl in my head, but none of them have answers. When this is over, I will personally ask Fritz about this, once I can locate him. I shake the thoughts away and bring my attention back to Sir Mithros. Why bother with this reveal? What do you hope to gain from it? Before we start our conversation. Sir Mithros waves his hand, conjuring a faint green glow that envelops the whole room. Just in case someone decides to eavesdrop, I wouldn't want any of your witch friends listening in on us. Yes, I am aware that one of them has been snooping around the palace these past few months. This snooping has made it more difficult to move around without exposing myself. Sir Mithros clicks his tongue in annoyance. Such a nuisance. He's referring to Delora. She and Parfait warned me before that there was a witch in the palace. Is Sir Mithros truly that witch? You just watched him cast a spell. Honey, I never really trusted him. Not even when I was a princess. Now that he's revealed himself as a witch, I need to know what he plans on doing. You knew that I was the princess the entire time, yet you never offered me any assistance. If I had, Alcaster would have targeted you as well. What? Alcaster wanted to dispose of the royal family. If he had known you were the princess, he would have been after you too. It would have been easier with no one remembering you as the princess. But unfortunately,
Fritz told his father about you, thinking that Alcaster might be able to help and protect you, and it didn't help that Fog confirmed it. Your mother wouldn't have been happy with me if I put you in harm's way. That is why I have to pretend not to know you in order to protect you. Sir Mithros is silent for a few moments before he speaks again. Revealing myself to be a witch was necessary. I had to make myself appear useful to Alcaster somehow, after all. Then, of course, I learned of his foolish plans to steal the crown and decided to thwart them. Though not before I stole something from Alcaster first. I played him like the fool that he is. I told him I would aid him with my magic, so long as he gave me the knight's protection. Using magic is almost impossible in this place, so having the knights to back me up was crucial. The knights? What does he need the knight's protection for? What are his plans? Sir Mithros starts pacing the room, his expression still calm. I found out that he planned to dispose of me after he obtained what he needed. I disposed of him first. Alcaster might have been able to convince most of the knights to aid him by promising them promotions, but, well, my magic is far more convincing. Sir Mithros stops in front of me, his deadpan expression transforming into a smile. For now, let us desist speaking of my plans. The minute Alcaster's plans were thwarted, I knew I had to contact you directly. I'm happy to see you in the palace, Your Highness. Although, we really need to get you out of those clothes soon. A maid's clothing does not befit a princess like yourself. It's not matter. My priority right now is to break my curse. Ah, of course. I must truly have been frightened to feel the need to curse you. I feel an uncomfortable tug in my heart. To think that the Lucius bearer would actually allow a witch to curse you. Sir Mithros shakes his head, disgust written on his features. When you suddenly disappeared that day, it was as if all traces of your existence had vanished. I searched for you endlessly, Princess. When you first appeared here in the palace, I did not recognize you immediately, but I felt a touch of magic in you, and investigated. My curiosity is what prompted me to investigate you further. When I tried hard enough, I found that I could see through the glamour that had been cast on you. So Sir Mithros truly was the witch Parfait was referring to when she mentioned someone seeing through the glamour. Imagine my surprise when I found out that it was actually you. That fairy bearer has been nothing but a nuisance to us witches. First she betrayed your mother, and then she betrayed you before she had even met you. But, Mother, she was the Tenebran bearer corrupted by darkness. Parfait only did what she had to. Sir Mithros looks at me, clearly surprised. What lies have those people been whispering in your ear? Everything the Queen did, she did for us witches, to protect us from the wicked humans who destroyed our home kind. It is clear to me where Sir Mithros' alliances lie. Sir Mithros sighs, runs a hand through his hair, and then continues speaking. On your 18th birthday, you will follow her footsteps. You will make this kingdom a place for all witches to prosper. I'm nothing like her. I refuse to make people suffer to fuel the crystal. I never bore witness to the suffering that people had to go through during my mother's reign, but the stories even are enough to reveal her true nature to me. It was hard to believe at first, but those people do not have any reason to lie to a servant like myself. They have nothing to gain from it. I finally understand why the hatred the people had for me ran so deep, even when I did nothing to them. It was because I was the witch's daughter. This has been said before. Your mother wouldn't be happy to hear you say that. Let me assure you that this is not a destiny you can run from, dear princess. I will not let destiny take control of my life. I find tiredness by releasing a long yawn. I'm sorry for cutting you short, Sir Mithros, but please excuse me. I am getting tired. I'm about to walk past Sir Mithros when he starts speaking again, his voice a low whisper. I noticed you have gotten closer to the family you so despised before, the prince included.
I narrow my eyes at him.
You care about him, don't you? I must confess that this surprises me, Princess. Such a relationship would certainly be a scandal. Even if you two are not blood related, he's still your stepbrother. Whatever will your dear father say about this?
I clench my fists. He has no right to lecture me. I already know that these feelings are wrong. I know that I cannot have them. I assure you that there's nothing between the both of us.
Oh, is that so? Are those lies you utter just to convince yourself?
This man is beginning to try my patience.
Allow me to share a little secret with you, Princess.
I'm not interested. I head for the door and reach for the knob.
Oh, but I think it is something you would be most curious about. I do, after all, know the consequences of the prince failing to break his curse. I also happen to know that someone special to him is getting married tomorrow.
My hand freezes. How do you know about all of this?
I know all of the happenings around this place. That is my job, Princess. Now tell me, do you know the ending to the fairy tale, The Little Mermaid?
My blood runs cold when I remember what Emerlane told me about that fairy tale. If the prince fell in love and married someone else, the Little Mermaid's heart would break, and she would dissolve into sea foam. Wow.
I conducted my own investigation and actually met the witch who bestowed the curse on the prince. In meeting her, I found out everything there is to know about it.
I turn to regard Mithras with a frown.
Ah, it seems I've finally gotten your attention.
What do you plan on doing to Rod? Sir Mithras shrugs.
To him? Nothing really. I was merely curious. I wanted to know what you saw in him.
What do you know about his curse?
It stays true to the fairy tale, only in this case, the prince gives up his voice for a title. Still, it will end the same way. The girl will fall in love with someone else despite his sacrifice. You mean, on his beloved's wedding day, the prince will die? I'd thought you might have reached the same conclusion. Tragic, don't you think?
The same thought, but is Rod truly going to die? So the reason Rod gave up breaking his curse was because he knew that Viorica would never love him back. He knew that he was going to die the moment Viorica married. Dread begins to wash over me.
Why not ask him yourself?
As if orchestrated by magic, the double doors open and Rod steps inside. When he sees me, his expression relaxes.
I've been looking all over for you. I wanted to speak with you about my discussion with Lady Parfait.
I turn around to face Sir Mithras once again, but to my surprise, he's already gone. When did Sir Mithras leave?
Gaia, is something wrong?
Was Sir Mithras really speaking the truth? Well, I have to end it here, guys. I'm really sorry. I know it's a cliffhanger, but I literally have like 4 minutes to get ready to leave. So, bye!